It's SJG, riding along with my guy K-Ferg, and we are officially in week number 1 of the Division 2 HBCU football season. 1 week in the books. Shout out to everybody who is watching us on not only YouTube, but also Facebook as well as Twitter. Please go ahead and hit that like button and show us some love, and let us know in the chat if your team won or lost, or if they got that BTA. Chris, what's going on, man? How you feeling? Got week 0 in the books of the 2025 football season, man. How you feeling?
Oh, man. It was great to see football, but I tell you, it wasn't great if you were a CIAA team in most cases.
Yeah, man. It was quite a painful week for several of them CIAA teams. Got that BTA. Some folks they didn't get the belt. They didn't get the belts in there, but they pretty much hung themselves. So only the top 3, I believe, in the CIAA. That's Virginia State, Virginia Union, and Johnson C. Smith got dubs. But we'll get into all that in a second. Chris, I gotta put you on the Summer Jam screen, though, man. This is as a theme today. Chris was moonlighting, and he went to an FCS HBCU football game. Chris, would you care to explain yourself?
Well, I had to go check it out, and it was in the backyard. Why not? Had to go hang out with the flea-bitten dogs known as the Aggies. And it was a great game. It was an excellent game. I really enjoyed it. And then I felt dirty, so I had to go to Division 2 games. So I had to drive down to go watch it.
Yeah, man. Nah, it's I caught a little bit. I caught the very end of that game. I caught the last drive. I was like, okay, look at A&T getting ready to be the team that has. It doesn't have twice as many scholarships as, but it clearly was not to be. So. The Aggies go 0-1 in the debut of former Fort Valley State head coach Sean Gibbs. So they are still looking for their first Division I win since September 30th of 2023. But enough about those guys.
A lot of broken hearts. A lot of broken hearts from that. Yeah, man.
Yeah. That was kind of the story of the weekend. If you guys saw the tease that I had a little bit earlier, I teased the BTA, and that's spelled to ass for those who are not familiar. And yeah, man, let's get right to it. We had 3 of those games in Division 2 at the HBCU conferences. All of them were inter. You tell me how does that go? CIAA versus SIAC matchups. We'll just go ahead and get out the way. This SIAC comes out 3-2 out of week 1. We still got some more to go, but yeah, man, we had 3 B2A blowouts. That would be Virginia Union versus Miles in the game that our guy Kobe was up at the Black College Football Hall of Fame Classic, so he caught that firsthand. Johnson C. Smith steamrolling over Morehouse 45-9. Obviously, our guy Wally was up there as well, rolling with those Golden Bulls. They looked the part. They did what you're supposed to do against a team like Morehouse. And then Albany State came in and just laid the smacketh down on the Bears. It was a bear down situation in Durham. Yeah, man. Were you surprised by any of these? And the margin of victories, and who should be the most worried that got that B2A on last week, man?
Well, I think the one that really stands out was Miles at first glance. Like, to be able to, struggle, get the ball down the field, struggle in the run game. But when you look at it a little closer, Miles has an all-freshman offensive line, and that is not what you want to debut against Virginia Union and, what they did bring back. And so, I think that, like, when you actually analyze that one, it's not as shocking as you think. It just lost too much.
Right.
And VU had more than enough options to to run. And I think the other thing is we're used to seeing Miles as a very tough defensive team. They gave up 375 yards rushing to Virginia Union. Just huge, huge, huge numbers. Not used to seeing that. So I would say, it's probably the most surprising, but not quite when you look at it and dissect it a little bit more. But all Benny came to play. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, man, they came to make a statement, man. I mean, yeah, I guess, last year, Shaw came down there and stole a game from them that thought they were going to have. And that was one of the more shocking games in the series. But, obviously Shaw's had that change over as their head coach. Adrian Jones has gone east, about as far east as you can go. Over at Elizabeth City State. So, they're in a rebuilding phase for sure. And they looked as though they were in a rebuilding phase. And, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, they don't really care about who's behind the jersey. They just saw, okay, this is Shaw. This is the team last year. They came in our backyard and embarrassed us, and we want all the smoke. We're going to put 50. I literally said at halftime, I was like, they're definitely putting 50 on them. And they did. So, but that's what you want to see from a team that is predicted to win their conference versus a team that is predicted to be at the back of their conference. So, I didn't, some people might have been surprised. I wasn't surprised. Rookie head coach. It was a lot for Shaw to overcome.
Yeah.
Yes. So, so we get past that. We get almost, then we got another category, the philosopher Brandy once said that almost doesn't count. And there were a couple of almost games that happened this week. One of them was Clark Atlanta. Clark Atlanta, of course, our guy Teddy Keaton, who hosts his show, the Teddy Keaton Show on HBCU Game Day. They started off the season with Valdosta State. We talked about the other day how, it's a whole brand new Valdosta State. So, it's not the one that Tremaine Jackson had put together. And so, again, if you're going to get them, and we'll talk about Valdosta State, a.k.a. the fake VSU, a.k.a. Valdosta Hate later. But Clark Atlanta had a lot of opportunities in this game, come up on the short end of a 31-28 score at Legion Field. Chris, what were your thoughts on this one?
Man, this is kind of one of those things where I felt like we talked about a couple years ago when it comes to like the kicking game. And that really hurt Clark in a situation like this. But it was a great debut for Zod McDonald and what he was able to do to move the offense. And it was kind of nice, refreshing to see, again, we talked last week about what does Clark bring on the defense to try to shore that up. And, to be this close against, it is a ranked opponent. It's very encouraging to see.
Yeah, so Clark Atlanta fell short, but, they get a chance this week. We'll talk about that game a little bit later. And, if we're going to talk about falling short, well, it depends on how you look at it. There was this game. We had Tuskegee hosting, well, it was a neutral site classic. But it was in Alabama. So I, along with the rest of that, where do I go? What? Anyway, yeah. So I, with a lot of other people, made a 7-hour trip or caught a plane. Chris, I know you came in from Tennessee, so still a lengthy trip for you. But, the WSSU folks, we did what we do. We show up for the game, cheer our team on. And, yeah, man, first half of that game, Winston-Salem State had some chances to really put the game away and to really put Tuskegee in a hole, and they didn't do it. Dropped several wide open passes and left the door open in the first half. And in the second half, Tuskegee did what a well-coached team does. They made adjustments and they found a way to win, and they controlled the clock for sure. And so WSSU took a long bus ride back to Tuskegee with a lot to think about. Again, they left a lot of points on the board, and both teams, it was the beginning of the year for both teams, and early in that first half, there was a lot of drops, some nerves. Thought it was a good crowd, but what were your impressions of the game? And then we'll go into our clip after that.
It was a great crowd. It's 15,000 people. I mean, that was amazing. And such a quote unquote neutral site game. And, there's a lot of Ram fans that were there. Some of the takeaways from this game, I thought both teams had their chances in the first quarter. I mean, there were some wide open drop passes in the first quarter by Tuskegee, and I believe in the second quarter by Winston. And of note, though, I think some of the things that really stands out is Winston actually had more offensive yards, but their punting situation was not great, and they kept giving Tuskegee short fields to work with. So, Tuskegee didn't really have to rack up the yards and move the offense with so much. And I think the other thing, too, was, talking about first game, Winston had a lot of penalties, 9 penalties of 79 yards, and it just happened at the absolute worst times, especially in that fourth quarter when it allowed Tuskegee to get into field goal range and take the lead. But big credit to Raekwon Beal, quarterback, and the way he was able to hang in there. He dropped some. He really had some really good passes. That touchdown pass he had, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful throw. Got knocked out the game, but came back in. And also Johnny Morris. At one point, it was kind of like he just took over that game in the fourth quarter. And so, Tuskegee did the right things. They got into some third and shorts, and they kept the game manageable. They chipped away at that clock, but if you're Winston, man, I'm just like, it's so many questions that I had. Same
old Rams. Unfortunately, it felt like being back at that Johnson C. Smith game last year. At several points in the game, but you mentioned Beal. So we'll get to Massey first, and then we'll get to. After the long drive back, I had a lot of time to think about the loss, so I did ask head coach Robert Massey about some of the things that they didn't do well. They were 1 for 10 on first down. So Kobe, let's hear about that, and then we'll hear from Mr. Raekwon Beal, who got the MVP.
To do that, it's going to be hard to win games like that. So
well, the big.
You guys were 1 for 10, I believe, on third downs. Like you said, they controlled the clock. What do you guys do to do that? It's going to be hard to win games like that. So
well, the biggest thing is to reduce being. Here's the denominator on this thing. We were 1 for 10. Every time you turn around, it was 3rd and 10. So we got to gain some yards in between. And what we did a year ago is we ran the ball. So we'll make a concerted effort to make sure we put ourselves in control of the game by way of running, to put ourselves in third and short situations. Because there were times that, third and long. That's why late in the game I didn't go for it on fourth down. There was enough time in that we could have stopped them because the defense was still playing well. They'd been on the field a lot and they were tired, but they still were playing well. So we could have got the ball back, had a timeout, and moved down the field to at least attempt a field goal to tie or take a shot in the end zone to try to win the game. So again, it's a momentum game, and you have to be in it to understand that. And some of those decisions come from that.
Well, at least I got a good photo out of it, guys. At least I got a good photo of it. Go ahead and post up Mr. Beal. I had a chance to talk to him after the game. Again, the offense had a tough outing for them in the first half, but they were able to bounce back in the second half. Let's hear from Mr. Beal.
We wanted to start the season off fresh. It's a new team. We got a different mold. We got a different motto about us. We just getting up and go get it any way possible. Our theme is leave no doubt, and that's what we did in the second half. Left no doubt, left it all on the line, and I love the way the team came out the second half and finished the second half.
What was the message in the halftime? I mean, what was the mood and the message in there from
second
Coach?
half? It was just like, man, stop the simple mistake. They didn't really do anything we didn't expect them to do, right? I feel like we shot ourselves in the foot a whole bunch of times in the first half. the defense helped us out with some good field position, some turnovers that we should have capitalized off of. So we knew it was just us in the first half. It was just us. We could have had 35 points in the first half, but we were just shooting ourselves in the foot. So second half, we came out, we a second half team. It's 4 quarters, we didn't get too down, and we came out the second half, we had a whole different mentality behind it.
I heard you talk about losing your grandmother. I mean, was that on your mind as you were out?
Yeah, man. Going into the game, man, I was real emotional going into the game. Just because, you know, I knew she wasn't able to see me. And I also lost my grandfather, man, who was my first football coach in December. So, man, just having both of my grandparents gone, this game meant a lot to me. And I definitely told myself this game, I was not losing this game. We was not losing this game, and whatever it took, I was going to do it for the team.
Yeah, that was Raekwon Beal. Really great performance in the second half. Let's look at you. Well, we're gonna see. You've been doing a lot of talking. Clarence. You know, well, we know what was sweet last year. We'll see what's sweet this year when it comes to the end of September. But anyway, yeah, man, let's talk about someone else who had a couple other guys who had some big games as well in the D2 HBCU world. We'll start with Rashawn Matthews Jr., quarterback from Virginia State. He kind of got things going, 343 yards passing, 21 to 27, 2 touchdowns. I looked at his numbers and he did a really great job. And then I looked at his name. I was like, that name sounds familiar. And his dad was the MEAC Offensive Player of the Year in 2000. So I stopped lying. It was 3-2. No, Morehouse is with y'all. That's your people. Stop playing. Stop playing, man. Nobody mess with y'all. Y'all be making up rules, man. Come on now. Facts. We trafficking facts over here, sir. That's that Benedict education, man. Public school guys, man. All right. Let's see. So Rashawn Matthews Jr., son of Delaware State legend, he really got VSU off to a great start. I'm sorry, that's 343 yards. Really great performance from him. We had and forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, Tiant Weish from Albany State, 14 carries, 137 yards, 27 yards was his long, and 2 touchdowns, just ran all over the Bears, the plain old Bears from Shaw. And then we've got Curtis Allen, a familiar name. We talked about him last week, and, we've heard a lot about him. We've seen him over the years. 17 carries, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, along a 53. They might still be scoring against Miles had somebody not finally stopped the. So, yeah, man, those are some of the guys that stood out for me. Any thoughts on any of the performances or maybe some that I missed?
Well, I think you got to also give some credit to that defensive line of Virginia State. They were just in that backfield against Barton all night long, and -3 rushing yards by Barton in that game. I mean, that really, really, really stood out to me as well. So just wanted to shout them out, those guys on that defensive line.
Right.
I'll mention, Johnson C. Smith, right? So Reverend Caldwell, I don't think he played in that game. And it was Brian Lane who stole the show at wide receiver, had over 160 yards from Kelvin Durham passes, catches and runs. Really, really, really stepped up for the Golden Bulls.
Yeah. So those are just a couple of the guys. Also, Noah Bodden, the quarterback over at Edward Waters. He's shining a really big win. We'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. So as we continue, guys, you are watching the D2 football show on HBCU Game Day. Please go ahead and hit that like button, depending on where you are. Leave us a comment. Let us know if your team won last week and how you're feeling about your team in the comments. We would love to hear about it. Besides Clarence, we already know he thinks that Bowie State is going 8-2, but we'll talk about that by the end of the month. Let's see. So now we're going to go to another segment that we got for you guys today, and let us know how you feel about these different segments, and we'll keep going. You guys can chime in. This is called buying or selling. All right. This is where this is called buying or selling. This is where we see whether we believe in folks or not. And it's early, but right now, as a buying or selling, right now, are you buying or selling Chris Tuskegee?
I'm buying them. I think that any team that has a pretty decent running attack really stands out to me. And I think also the way Tuskegee, what Beal said about they didn't see anything that they weren't expecting means that, to me, that's a pretty well coached team. And so I think, to me, they definitely going to get to a winning season at a minimum. I'm buying.
It's interesting you said that, Chris, because at the press conference last week and this week at Winston-Salem State, head coach Robert Massey indicated that there was no film exchange between the two. But clearly, Tuskegee found a way to scheme against Winston-Salem State, and they were the better for it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a difference in the game.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Fayetteville State. They did not look good. They did not look good at all by any circumstance. They did not look good. I felt like they were overrated coming into the season, just personally, and they definitely looked like it against Benedict, who last year they were in Miles' shoes, and this year, they're not good. They're not the run and shoot offense. They're not gonna sex you up, but they were able to put up enough to beat Fayetteville State, a straight up shutout. Chris, are you ready to sell? Are you ready to sell those guys from Fayetteville State, or is it too early to call?
Man, I'm gonna just go ahead and say, and I know I'm gonna regret it later in the season, because that's what Richard Hayes does. He does the exact opposite of whatever I say. But I'm selling. I didn't really see a whole lot of difference in the roster for Fayetteville State, and I think that, to me, I think you really got to see the effects of that in this game. I mean, they were shuffling between Joe Owens and DeMar Daniels, and they had no real run game. So that put a lot of pressure on those two quarterbacks to do something. And, I was really also just really disappointed in the kicking game. Like, they had two opportunities to get on the board, at least, to prevent a shutout at a minimum, and the kicker missed it. So I'm not a buyer. I think that they were too high in the coaches poll to begin with. I'm just not seeing it. So that it's a definite sell for me.
All right. Okay. So let's go on the flip side of that. Benedict, are you buying Benedict, or did they just find easy pickings in a Fayetteville State offense that could not get out of its own way and tie its own shoes?
I mean, I'm not a buyer either here. I think that they're also going to have some issues with their own offense too. I'm just not seeing it right now. I mean, I see the buying Benedict offense, selling the defense. I mean, I don't know, man. When you pitch a shutout, I mean, that says just as much about a defense as it says an offense. So, yeah, but I'm not a buyer here either.
Okay. All right. Next up, Edward Waters. Chris. Edward Waters, obviously they had the coaching change that we talked about earlier in the summer. We also had, so we got Brian Jenkins taking over as the interim head coach. He brings in Eric Dooley, and they get quarterback Noah Biden, who a couple years ago I was writing about him, signing to committing to Grambling State just before Shador Sanders committed to Jackson State, and talking about how, that was a big time get for them. It never really quite worked out for him at Grambling or Southern, but it looks like he's off to a good start over at Edward Waters.
Yeah, and this is where I would say, if I could have a pick all over again as to maybe a dark horse, maybe it was more Edward Waters than Savannah State. Yeah, I'm actually buying this stock. I think that what you kind of saw with Edward Waters and the ability to do some things on both sides of the ball. Yes, I think that anytime you can, find ways to score and get your defense, put your offense in good positions. Yes, I like it. And again, coaching, right? You got somebody who knows how to win. So yes, buying.
All right. And Miles. Let's Miles. Right now, Miles, after the brutal beating, what are you giving them?
Well, Miles is already was going to be a prime stock. Based on their performance, they bounce back year after year, find a way to get it done. Even after a championship year, they may have a dip, and then they come back up, buy the dip then. It ain't going down far enough yet. I'm not a buyer. I'm selling Miles right now. You got a freshman offensive line that's got to work through some growing pains. Now, Cam Ivory, yes, I mean, that's a leader. Like, he's doing whatever he can to get things done, but I mean, they're going to be really relying on his arm. And that doesn't exactly inspire confidence for me right now. So I'm selling right now.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's fair. All right. Got another one. And this will be the last one. Thanks for everybody who's in the comments. Please continue to let us know whether you're buying or selling. Sly wisely said that he is actually selling the offense and buying the defense. So I think that makes a lot more sense. Let's see. And then we will go to Winston-Salem State. Right now, you're buying, you're selling.
Why you got to do this, Steven? Why must you do this?
I can't be the only one in trouble around here,
Oh, my goodness. Well, I tell you one thing. Things don't get any easier for Winston-Salem State starting this week with Mars Hill. And now you got VSU, VUU. The expectation is Bowie's going to be a little better, and VUU. I'm a neutral. Like, I don't. Do I think they can get to a winning season? Yes. Do I think it's going to be better?
The biggest Ram lover in the world. Look at the.
It's a whole neutral. I mean, I'm tempted to sell. I'm trying not to hit the panic button yet, but they're gonna have to do something this week. If they go 0-2 this week, then I'm selling for sure.
I got you. I'm buying the players, but every time the lights come on, Chris, every time the lights come on. So we'll see. I'm buying the players, though. I am buying the players. All right. So, all right. So next up, we'll go into week 2. Big week 2. It's an interesting week 2. Again, last week we had 5 of those CIAA SIEC matchups. We only have, I believe, 1 this week. And that is the battle of the AMEs, AME Zion versus AME. This was not on our thing, but we're rolling so good here, Chris. We can talk about it. We got, and that is Livingstone going down to Allen. The hopes of the CIAA ride on Livingstone this week. The Blue Bears went up to Charleston, West Virginia, and got mauled, as it were, by Charleston. Again, they're coming off a 6-4 season. Charleston's a really good program. Yeah, and Allen, I don't believe Allen played last week. So, what do you have any thoughts on this game? Do you expect Livingstone to right their ship after last week? Obviously, a different level of competition. What are your thoughts? Do you have any feelings, or are you just kind of not sure?
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at, some of the stats for Livingstone right now, and I just feel like, I was very encouraged by what they were able to do with the passing game. You got another quarterback that's new to Livingstone, what they want to do, but, they find ways to, get folks settled in and make some things happen. The Charleston game, they were just overmatched. I mean, that's just what that was. And time possession, 39 minutes. I mean, you can't do anything. Another team, 1 of 10 on third downs, right? But I'm a buyer. I mean, I'm okay with Livingstone in this game. I feel okay. In this
Man,
game.
you're doing a lot of stumbling, man.
Yeah, I'm okay with Livingstone in this game.
Yeah, I think the Blue Bears will bounce back. Then we have a early conference matchup. The favorite Albany State taking on Kentucky State. Obviously both teams got the win last week. Kentucky State. The Kentucky State took care of Kentucky State. Kentucky State and Albany State. Is there any way that you see a potential upset here for Kentucky State, or is this going chalk?
Nah. Golden Rams on a mission right now. I know. No. I like what Kentucky State is like continues to be on this like upward trajectory, like from where they had last year.
Are they like the Livingstone of the SIAC right now?
That's a kind of a good way to put it, I would say. They definitely gonna surprise some folks, but this is all Benny. Like no. Mm-mm.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah. So that is, that's one of the games on there. We also have. It doesn't get any easy. It doesn't get a lot easier for Miles. It might get a little bit. I don't know that it gets any easier for Miles. They're going to Edward. They're facing Edward Waters. What are your thoughts on that one, Chris? Does Miles? Does Miles have a chance in that one?
Well, yeah, I think they do have a chance. I think they probably match up a little easier for sure in this game. I'm just, kind of the one thing about that I would like to certainly see is whether Miles shores up the running defense. VU, they got some good shots down the field, and now you face another team that could certainly pass the ball and do it pretty well. I'm more feeling Edward Waters in this game. I think that I think it will certainly put them on the radar if they can get over Miles, because Miles has that name recognition. I think they can do it. Yeah.
All right, and over in the CIAA, so Bowie State. They've got Shippensburg, and they've got Shippensburg. Bowie State was idle last week, still managed to move up in some people's rankings by default, I guess, even at 0-0. What about Shippensburg? This Shippensburg game, it is in Shippensburg. How do you like Bowie State's chances?
Well, I mean, it's a good opponent to start with. Ship has definitely not been the same Red Raiders from prior seasons. They were 2-9 last year, so it's definitely a good way to break in a new team and for if if you're Bowie State, right? I mean, you got to be a little bit more consistent on offense. Bowie, they sometimes kind of stall out, when they get to the 20s. Their chances certainly increase as they get into like these sort of low scoring slugfests. But
This ain't Damon Wilson, Bowie State.
no, it's not. No, it's
This ain't your
not.
video game, Damon Wilson, Bowie State. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nah, it ain't.
So I'm just really curious just to see, if that offense takes that next step forward. I mean, if they do, they certainly going to have a shot in this game. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm really ready to pick Bowie against Ship. PSAC in itself is generally a pretty good, like mid-tier Division II conference, and I just think that on the road, I don't know if I'm ready to make that call at this point.
Okay, we shall see.
But I love their scheduling. But I love Bowie's scheduling. I think Bowie's always been one of the more adventurous scheduling teams for a Division II in the NCAA in particular. I love this game. I think it's definitely an opportunity for a pickup. So, certainly rooting for them.
Good stuff there. All right, we'll see what the Bulldogs have in store for us. Chris, I'm looking in the chat though. I noticed last week I saw a lot of Fayetteville State, and I haven't seen one Blue Pony person over here. No Blue Man, no nothing. You mess around and get shut out. I mean, folks just get missing, right? At some schools. At some schools, so interessante. They take on UNC Pembroke this week. That's their rival. Any read on UNC Pembroke at this point? I know they're in the second year of having the former coach of Chowan, and they usually have some battles.
Third year. I think they're in the third year now.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they played Wingate, and they lost that game, but it wasn't like it was a blowout or anything. It was like 30-21 or something like that, from what I recall. 30-21. Yep. And it was a road game for them. Man, I tell you, like these games are so unpredictable when it comes to any Mark Hall, Richard Hayes type battle. And it's not like Pembroke is like just lighting it up. It's the same quarterback that played most of the game last year against Fayetteville. So will they have their chances? Absolutely. But Fayetteville's got to figure out a way to get that running game going, because otherwise, I'm just not seeing it. I think that is not. I'm not feeling it. Not feeling it. No.
Oh, look, it's our friend Lennon. Hey, Lennon, what's going on, Lennon? How you doing, buddy? How you doing, man? Yes, WSSU did lose. We did lose. But I went to your game too. And whoa, buddy, do y'all have some work to do over there? Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't know that y'all could be WSSU right now. And that's real talk. I mean, good Lord, you talk about amateur hour. I mean, y'all had a nice crowd. You talk about amateur hour, dog. Y'all had a nice crowd. I will say that. And now you got to face your daddy this weekend. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. We got to face your daddy. That's Virginia State University. Because I know who y'all really are. Y'all say you're big state because you're Division I, you're a little bit bigger. But y'all were known as the Little Trojans. So now the Little Trojans will try to beat the big Trojans this weekend. And I don't think it's going to happen. I don't. We'll get there. I'm so glad Lennon. And now look, Lennon's got now Clarence has got a hating ass buddy over there. They are joined together in hate. So we shall see. All right, but let's go. Before we get to that Norfolk State Virginia State game, let's get over to the fake VSU, aka Valdosta Hate. They will be coming to Beatties Ford Road to take on the Golden Bulls. Look at Clarence currying up to Lennon. Y'all got to worry about your own D1 game, Clarence. Y'all got to worry about your own D1 game. But I know you're hoping that VSU beats them. But we'll see. Anyway, Valdosta State, Johnson C. Smith. Chris, I don't know. To me, it seems like we saw Clark Atlanta last week. We saw, we saw them last week. It seems like if you're going to get them, this is the time to get them. And Johnson C. Smith has a prime opportunity to do that. Play them over in Charlotte, on Beatties Ford Road, on that one half of the stadium that they got over there. What are your thoughts on this game? What are the respectability? See, you're talking about just keeping it respectable, Clarence. See, we went over there to those people in Greensboro. They scared. They won't play us again for another 15 years. Keep it respectable. We beat Division I teams. Anyway, go ahead. They're not better than us, and they're not better than you. I just hope we keep it respectable next week, man. Please, y'all beat them the last time. Stick your chest out, man. We're going to show you how to do it, though. We're going to show you how to keep that pride no matter what. Keep it going, Chris.
Well, I would say that Clark gave us the blueprint, right? I mean, because Clark, they didn't really run the ball particularly well, and neither did JCSU. So this has to be the Kelvin Durham show, in my opinion, in order for this to work. I think the defense of JSU is definitely going to be worthy of slowing down the Blazers, but they're not going to. I don't think they're going to shut them down. Like under 10 points type deal. So JCSU's got to find the end zone and gotta find it frequently. Again, this was a scenario where JCSU had some kicking woes too on Saturday. So if this game is close, I'm real nervous. I'm really, really nervous. But if JCSU is going to win, I feel like they need to win by 7.
Okay.
So,
I like it. Hi, Miss Karen. Miss Karen, you may want to cover your ears in a second because we're gonna put this one back up, dog. Okay, now you want to be realistic. Now you want to be really, but when it comes to the CIAA, y'all gonna whoop everybody's ass. That's now in the CIAA, you're like the most unrealistic Bowie State fan. But when it comes to a Division I school, it's a different roster. Man, please look, man, y'all got they did better than people thought last week at Delaware. They can still be had. Stick your chest out, man. And Lennon, win a championship that you can count in this decade before you come for the Rams. I already told you that, brother. I already told you that. But hey, y'all gonna have a nice crowd again. So there we go. And lastly, we'll finish this out with the battle of the states. Virginia State versus Norfolk State. This is a game that Virginia State has won twice in the last decade. Once under Reggie Barlow, and then also against Dr. Henry Frazier. I really am intrigued by this game. Again, I was at Norfolk State for Michael Vick's debut last week, and I was keeping up with the scores at Virginia State. And, I was like, we might have a game here, and I think we will. Again, you've got obviously star power at Norfolk State, Michael Vick, getting 19,000 people out there. Getting 19,000 people out there on a Thursday night speaks volumes to the type of draw that he can be. But he's still a first-time head coach, and we saw a lot of that last week. They say that the team improves most from week 1 to week 2, and Coach Vick is he's still getting his chops about him as a coach. And on the other side, we have a guy, Henry Frazier, who is a legend at Bowie State. led them to a title that was later vacated due to some academic stuff with some folks there, but turned them into a contender, got them to the CIAA championship games a couple times, then went over to Prairie View and North Carolina Central. He's an experienced guy. I'm hearing that he was potentially in the running for that Norfolk State job before it went to Michael Vick. So there's a lot of energy there. And we saw a couple years ago, Chris, when he was coming in, he kind of played, we're handicapped. We got our hand behind our back. But then he went in and beat Dawson Odom's team in 2023 to really catapult his program. What are your thoughts on this team and their ability to pull this off?
Well, VSU has it's a dramatic step up from what they had Thursday night against Barton. And, the one thing that really stood out was how much time that Washawn Matthews had when trying to pass the ball. I don't think he's going to have that much time this time around. And so he's going to have to make some decisions a little quicker, or those receivers are going to have to break loose a bit faster for VSU to keep Norfolk, off balance there. On the flip side, the last time these two teams played, it was a little bit back and forth before, Norfolk State and I would say the depth kind of took over. And it wasn't a big victory. It wasn't a big margin. But, and some of those guys, they're back from Norfolk State. And I think that's going to make the difference, knowing, how big this game is, even though it's a difference in divisions that, I think when Virginia State's in these games and they, look primed to pull the upset, they've got some star power in the back. And I think they're still a bit young here. So I don't think they'll get blown out, but I think that it'll be a learning lesson and something that they'll take going into the rugged CIAA schedule.
Gotcha, Chris. I gotcha. Well, we'll see. But yeah, it's again, just happy to have football back. Guys, as you're watching the D2 football show here on HBCU Game Day, Chris, as we're finishing up here, man. I know I didn't put this on there, but any hot takes this week, man? Any besides buy your damn tickets? What was your reaction? What did you think about that, Chris? AD Ruffin's message for the Tuskegee folks, specifically the former student athletes who wanted to hang out on the sidelines, be all in the videos, because they got their first ever historic night game against Central State University this week. And I was talking to people down there last week, and there's a lot of excitement about it. What were your thoughts about what he said? Did you agree with the message? And if you did agree with his message, did you agree with his delivery? And guys, let us know in the chat what you thought as well.
Well, he was very authentic, right? I mean, he just kind of said what was on his mind, and he just let it out there. Yeah, I mean, people got to support these schools. They got to, buy tickets to support them at the gate. I mean, football ain't free. And so the least you can do is buy a ticket to support the school and what they're trying to do. And yeah, I didn't have a problem with the message at all.
Yeah, running a football program, as you say, is not free. It's not cheap, even at the Division II level, and I think one of the things that was lost in it is that, while, Coach Ruffin was talking specifically to the student athletes, but I think it goes for everybody. Tuskegee is, I think I saw where there was a report within them internally where last year they only 13,000 tickets were paid for, but they, captured 40-something thousand people on the grounds for homecoming. So, yeah, it's Lennon, we could have been Norfolk State and never won anything in the MEAC, but hey, it is what it is. We still got the same number of MEAC championships that you do as football. But anyway, I think it's a very important message that he put out there. Neither you nor I played in college, Chris. So people say, hey, you don't understand that. You don't get how you don't get how difficult, what you have to go through as an athlete, and all of that makes sense. But, somebody put it perfectly. He played, people are comparing what they do with these Division One programs, Power 5 programs, and it's like, yeah, but it's that's a whole different ball game. So I'm glad that AD Ruffin said what he said, and I think, just my interaction with him, he's a straightforward guy. He gave it to him straight. Tough, but with love. And, I think it hits its mark with a lot of people. So, whoever you are, buy your damn tickets. And support your schools as they continue to push forward. So Chris, any hot takes this week, and any players to watch set up for a big game, or you just kind of still feeling it out? I mean, this transfer portal thing, it's other than Curtis Allen, not a lot of people are staying in the same place.
Well, I was actually a bit encouraged by Bluefield and what they were able to do on offense, to start the game. So, they certainly got to shore up the defense the way Tusculum ran over them there. But, they're going against Concord. That's a rivalry game for them. And so
they won last year, didn't they?
And they did win last year at Concord. So they get to do this one at home. So definitely encouraged by Bluefield. I also mentioned Lincoln, hang tough against a ranked Grand Valley State team. I was like, man, are they even going to score? No, they actually kind of hung in there for a little while. And they're going to get to Duquesne, who I think might actually be a little easier of a game, despite them being an FCS school. So, definitely curious just to see what that looks like as well, even though that's FCS. So.
All right, good stuff. Well, look, I appreciate everybody for tuning in, even Lennon and Clarence. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, even Lennon and Clarence. Please, guys, make sure that you share this, whether you're listening on the podcast or you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. We appreciate everybody for tuning in to this edition of the D2 Football Show on HBCU Game Day. And Chris and I will see you guys in the next video.